Good morning, everybody. Running a couple minutes late. I apologize. Just let's dive straight into it. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Sorry we're running a little bit late. It rained here last night, so of course we lost power. I was afraid we weren't even going to be able to do a show this morning because everything was so last minute. We just recently got power on. It's hot as hell in here. I got to turn the fan on in here. We had no power all night last night, and here we go. Oh my God. I love you folks. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you help keeping the lights on here. Lord knows the Republicans and Greg Abbott aren't doing it. Oh my God. We got some interesting, fun stuff to talk about today. First of all, did you know James Comer reported dope in China? Yeah, no kidding. Actually, the subject of the show today is misinformation, but we're going to talk about how it works. That's actually a true statement. James Comer helped one of his major donors import dope from China. And I thought that was an interesting thing to talk about because all James Comer wants to talk about is Hunter Biden and the fact that Hunter Biden had for all accounts, a failed business venture in China, never got off the ground, never became anything. But James Comer wants to talk about it like it's the most important thing in the universe. Well, James Comer had his own business deal in China. See, he used to be the agricultural commissioner in Kentucky. And when he was the ag commissioner in Kentucky, one of his major donors, a seed company, wanted to import hemp. You remember the hemp craze, hemp sheets, hemp is going to save the world. And let me tell you something, folks. I am all in on hemp. I really am. It's a great product. If you rotate your crop, it doesn't hurt the soil. It can be used for a billion different things, from cloth to paper and it really does ease deforestation. It won't end deforestation because Brazil is all in on meat production, and they're deforesting the Amazon like crazy to make room for cattle. But it will go a long ways. Hemp's a good thing. So I'm not punching them in the teeth. And this kind of is to illustrate the difference between us and them, to be honest with you. So here's the story, and give away a good descriptor of how misinformation works. This is not misinformation I'm giving you, by the way. This is actually 100% true. A seed company, one of Comer's major donors here, wanted to jump in on the hemp craze. And they found a place they could get seeds cheap. China. So they ordered a bunch of seeds, but they were having a hard time getting them in country. So who helped out? James Comer. Him and his donor imported seeds from China. Well, it turns out, for you folks that aren't familiar with the wacky weed, hemp, when you hear somebody talk about hemp, they're talking about the marijuana plant, but it doesn't have the THC in it. Marijuana is hemp. The difference between marijuana and the hemp, colloquially, when they talk about it, is You've got a variety of the plant that doesn't have the stuff that gets you high, but it's the same plant. So they're trying to import hemp seeds, and what they got was a bunch of marijuana seeds. See, this is how misinformation works. Now, if I was Republican and I was a right winger, I would leave it with this image right here. Here's old James Comer, man. He's importing drugs from China. And I would be telling you the truth. It's got a little nugget of truth to it. But folks on our side never just leave it there. We don't. We kind of dig on things. We're like, what? And then we start asking questions. That isn't the right wing, folks. That isn't the right wing. The right wing wants to hear James Comer's a drug dealer, the opposite of it. You know what I'm saying? They want to hear negative things. They want to believe that, so they don't question, they amplify. And that's how misinformation works. Now, if I just told you James Comer's a drug dealer, hey, and the way they would do it is the way this misinformation works is, what was James Comer's relationship to a known drug importer? They would ask that question and leave it there, and let the audience's mind connect those missing dots. They do it all the time on the right. They take something that's just a nugget of truth. I will tell you one that really, really, really bothers me a lot is they call Joe Biden a pedophile. You know why they call him a pedophile? Anybody here come from a big family? Anybody, let's see hands. Did anybody here come from a big family? When you were kids, did your parents shower with you? When you had to run a bunch of kids through to go someplace, to get them out of the house, to go to dinner or whatever, the parents jumped in the shower and they ran the young kids through. That's just the way it worked. It was with mama or with daddy. It was interchangeable. It didn't matter because there was nothing untoward or wrong about it. Happened in my house. We were 5 kids. Happened in my house all the damn time when we were young. Well, Ashley Biden had some issues, some mental issues. She was getting therapy for. And one of the things she wrote down in her diary was, well, when maybe this all comes from when I showered with my dad. Well, she was 14 when she wrote it, but she was talking about when she was a kid. She was talking about when she was a young child. And she wasn't really talking about it. It's in her diary. Okay? And she wasn't talking about it like she was abused or anything like that. It was just, I'm frustrated. I'm dealing with all these mental health issues. I'm getting treatment, this, that, and the other. Maybe it comes from this. Okay. She's talking about her childhood. The nugget of truth is she showered with her dad as a kid. That's the nugget of, but the reality is she was a young kid. And and it's really damn common. It happened in my household all the freaking time. When you had 5 kids, you had to get out the door to dinner, and you had kids that were yay high. You ran them through the shower with mom or dad, so that they just got in and out. If you let those kids each individually take a shower, it would take you 6 hours to get out of the damn house. It was very common. But some person, she was renting a room from a friend. She took all of her stuff, put it in a box, put it in the closet. Well, she traveled. She went out on business. So the friend rented the room out, like an Airbnb thing, to someone else. That person was nosy through all that person's stuff, got a hold of Ashley Biden's diary and stole it. And the rest is history. The right wing has been calling Joe Biden a pedophile because when his daughter was a kid, when his kids, not just his daughter, it was all his kids, he would bathe his kids. Same thing here with James Comer. If we were the right, we would just drop it as, was James Comer trying to help his seed company donor get ahead in the marijuana game? Did he use inside information to help his seed donor friend when they knew that there was going to be legalization of marijuana, when he had control, when he had influence over the legalization of marijuana? Did he help his major donor get ahead of everybody else in the marijuana game? They imported marijuana seeds. Just things that have no freaking basis in reality. But you leave it out there. And that's what the right wing is. That's how this information flourishes, because they want it. They want to hear awful things. So they grab onto it. They're not like us, folks. I'm telling you, it is one of the, I talk to people that do what I do. I do. And one of the biggest complaints is they will sit there and they will say things, I mean, talking about political activism on the left is, it's like herding cats. You can't just put a message out and repeat the message and have it float. People rap the knuckles of the Democratic Party all the time. Why aren't you better on messaging? It's not that. It's just we cannot do on the left what they do on the right. The misinformation doesn't work because you folks are smart. What I tell you has to be the truth, because I guarantee you right now, as we're talking, somebody's Googling everything I just said. Robin Masters, me and my brother took baths together when we were little too. Mom just wanted us to be bathed and in bed before 8. Exactly. It was common. It was common. But what they do is they spin it as something negative, something nasty, and leave the question out there. And people that want to hear bad things, they tie bad connotations to it. They do. And then they show pictures of him leaning down and kissing his granddaughter on the head at his son's funeral. And they say, oh, look, he's sniffing some child. No, he was consoling his own granddaughter. They don't tell you it's his granddaughter at her father's funeral and that he's hugging her and kissing her on the top of the head. No, they tell her oh, look at this pedophile sniffing another kid. And they don't question, folks. They do not question. On the left, you folks would say, who's the kid? When was that? What was that? I want to know about that. You've made a serious accusation there. I want to know about it. They don't do that on the right. The worse, the better. They're like, yeah, buddy. Bud Light, perfect example. Dylan Mulvaney. There was one can printed with Dylan Mulvaney's image on it, and it was given to her. Bud never distributed transgender cans, ever. But every right-winger out there believes that Bud Light tried to shove Dylan Mulvaney down their throat, that they were just putting it out all over all they were trying to do was sell beer to transgender folks who happen to also drink beer. The LGBTQ plus community is, you're talking what, depending on who you talk to, it's 10 to 14 to greater if you start counting people still in the closet. And Bud just said, hey, you know what? They drink beer too. And people are just people. We'll have an ad campaign just for these people. I promise you, they did not show that ad in Kid Rock's district. They didn't. But they took just a little nugget, a little something, and they claimed it was something else, and it appealed to the worst in them, and that's what they want. And it's highly effective, folks. It's highly effective with people that are ignorant, stupid, don't question. You know, they say there's so many things that are said that are just absolutely true. Reality has a liberal bias. It does. It simply does, because we base our policies and our ideas on reality. The right does not. So when I talk to you folks and I tell you, hey, you're better than they are, I mean it. You're better than they are. But I'm going somewhere with this, folks. You know, I could do that. I could be just as bad as they are, and it would get nowhere. It would get nowhere. You want to know what the truth is? James Comer did a favor, which is bad enough, for a major donor to help them get hemp seeds because they were trying to get in on the hemp craze. They wanted to have seeds available to sell. When the seeds got there, they had illegal amounts of THC in them because it was a shitty supplier. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. That's the truth. That's the truth. And if I tried to spin it as, Comer's a drug dealer, yeah, y'all wouldn't have any of it. You wouldn't. You'd call me out. I would get a dozen emails correcting me, not from the right, not from the right. It would be from the left. It would. I am telling you, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. You have to do the work if you're on the left. You cannot be lazy. You cannot just throw salacious crap out there because you folks are smarter than that. But that is not how it works on the right. And I'll give you the case that has dominated American politics for the last several decades, Rupert Murdoch and Fox News. Rupert Murdoch, I say this all the time. If somebody asks me who has done the most damage to the United States of America ever, or without hesitation, I say Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch. Because Rupert has absolutely, unabashedly tied himself to the Republican Party. Fox News is the communications wing of the Republican Party. It just is. They don't hide it. They're unabashed. And they have no problem selling stories like I just explained to you. At all. They have no problems taking their horrible, awful viewers, and they're horrible people. You know, like Mark Twain said, it is far easier to fool someone than it is to convince them that they're being fooled, to paraphrase. That's the truth, man. That is the truth. These people want to hear the worst. They do. And they hunt it out. And Fox News hands it to them on a plate. There's no nuance. There's no talking about complex subjects. They just, if the roles were reversed, if James Comer were a Democrat instead of a Republican, Fox News would be running stories about him importing dope from China. It's just the way it works, folks. So when you hear somebody say, well, the Democrats need to be better on their messaging, no, it just doesn't work that way on the left. It doesn't. There is no talking that. And the corporate media, they're lazy. You've seen the cutbacks. You've seen the cutbacks in the media. They don't want to do journalism. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to deal with complex situations. They are loving what Fox does. What drives them crazy is every time, if you look at like Chris Licht over at CNN, every time they try, they don't understand why it fails. It fails completely because any organization that has any liberal base to it can't do this. It doesn't work because you don't just take shit. You verify what I tell you. So I have to prep for my show. I have to have real information for my show to show you what they're, thank God that they're stupid enough to tell you out of their mouths exactly what they're doing. That, you know, case in point, the 2025 project 2025. You know, they're constantly telling you. But yeah, we've got some news on the misinformation front, and it's right here. Rupert Murdoch has gotten married again. And hang with me, folks. This is actually going somewhere. He married Elena Zukova. Who is Elena Zukova? Folks, it's just, she's, for one, she's brilliant. She's a molecular biologist. Where does she come from? She's Russian. She's Russian. She's lived here for the last few decades working as a molecular biologist, but she is straight out of Russia. Her first marriage was to this guy, where she gets her surname, Alexander Zhukov. This is younger, happier days. Alexander Zhukov. This is one of Putin's closest friends. Vladimir Putin's closest friends. They had a daughter. They had a daughter named Dasha. Beautiful young woman, also brilliant. And that's the thing about every one of these women. I am not insulting them. I am not saying that they're just getting married for their looks or anything like that. Every one of these women I am bringing up are highly educated, speak multiple languages. These are, by all accounts, brilliant women. This is Dasha Sukova. She married Roman Abramovich. Who's Roman Abramovich? Well, he and Alexander Zhukov are about as close as it gets to a best friend with this guy, Vladimir Putin. You know, it's widely accepted that Vladimir Putin is the richest guy in the world. You see, this was actually from a meeting where Abramovich, who made his more money in Russian oil, they were sitting down having a meeting, and basically Vladimir Putin was explaining to him where he was going to funnel money to Vladimir Putin, or he was going to fall out a window. But they are just the closest of friends. It all surrounds Putin. And who is Dasha Zukova's bestest? Yeah, it's a really tight orbit, folks. Anybody recognize who that is sitting with Dasha Zukova? I love you people. I love you people so much. Yeah. They have their fingers everywhere. Everywhere. But you know, it's even weirder. It's even weirder than just just Elena Zukova and her ties to Putin. And now she's in bed literally with Rupert Murdoch, who is the king of misinformation, who's done more damage to our country than anyone. They were introduced by Putin's third wife. I mean, pardon me. Pardon me. Rupert Murdoch's ex-wife. Yeah. Rupert Murdoch got divorced. By all accounts, had his heart broken. It was he who actually brought this divorce about. It wasn't her. Rich, I appreciate you. Putin has his network of evil. That's exactly where I'm going. I'm showing you how convoluted and sticky this mess is. This is his ex-wife, Wendy Ding. This is Wendy Ding. Wendy Ding is, she's Chinese Communist Party aristocracy. She is. And again, brilliant woman. Absolutely. I don't know how many languages she speaks. I really don't. She is highly educated. And when I say Chinese Party aristocracy, there's a thing, and it doesn't matter what the form of government it is. You're going to get people that are affluent. You're going to get people with power, and they're going to take care of their kids. That happened in the Chinese Communist Party. You have these progenies. Her parents were sent to the best schools, were given the best jobs. They were allowed to travel around the world. That's where Wendy Ding comes up, right? So the whole world is like, when she marries Rupert Murdoch, who is the mouthpiece for the Republican Party. He's the guy doing the absolute most damage to the United States of America. Here he is marrying Chinese Communist Party aristocracy. And man, it was really something. They ended up getting a divorce because reportedly she had several affairs. But apparently his problem wasn't really with the affairs. And she's got a type. She's got a type. She marries Rupert Murdoch. Then one of her reported affairs was with this guy. Anybody? I love playing with you folks. Anybody? Give me a name. You know who this is. The chairman and CEO of Alphabet. The parent company of Google. Eric Schmidt. I knew you knew. Yeah. But apparently this isn't the affair that caused poor Rupert to be heartbroken. This was. And this was the most public one. This is the one where they getting caught. Rupert Murdoch's, the family was gathered together prepping for a funeral. They had a granddaughter in the Murdoch family that was well into her hundreds and was about to die. Everybody got together as a family, but Wendy Ding. Wendy told her husband, I need a girls' weekend. I'm going down to the ranch. And so, yeah, guess who showed up at the ranch? But there are more reports. Yeah, Tony Blair. Tony Blair was the one, was apparently being reported. Apparently Murdoch was okay with the affairs, but not this one. Not this one. Because this, and apparently Tony Blair was very conflicted about it, because if you had to say Rupert Murdoch had a best friend, it was Tony Blair. It was Tony Blair. Yes, and Blair is a philanderer. Yeah, Tony Blair. Yeah, she's got a type. So a lot of people have speculated. They said, look, she is a honeypot spy. Wendy Ding is. Well, who introduced Elena Zukova to Rupert Murdoch? Wendy Ding did. Wendy Ding at a party that Wendy Ding was throwing. Apparently, Murdoch and Ding are still friends, close friends. Wendy Ding introduced him to Elena Zukova, who has incredibly close ties to Vladimir Putin. And interestingly enough, when you're going to have to Google this because you're not going to believe me. So Google it and prove me right. When Wendy Ding and Rupert Murdoch divorced, there was someone else that just went through a divorce and was single and on the market. And she started dating him. Who do you think it was? Wild guess. Wild guess. I'm bringing you a picture up. Pictures just make it hit so much harder. None of you are even close. And you're going to have to Google this. You're going to think I'm lying to you. Not kidding. Not kidding. When Vladimir Putin got divorced, and he got divorced not too long ago, he started dating Wendy Ding. Now, it didn't pan out. They didn't turn out to be a thing. They didn't end up being a long-term. No, I am not kidding. I am not kidding. I'm not joking. Google it. Google it. Check me. Folks, you know how I talk about how there's this political strategy of filling the space? And I always say this, you're a human, you only have so much bandwidth. You only have so much bandwidth. And what I mean by that is, by the time you eat, sleep, live your life, deal with your kids, deal with your job, deal with everything else, you only have X amount of information to take in information. And the right wing knows that. So they fill that space with misinformation. They shove as many shiny objects into that as possible. For you, it doesn't work that well because the point I've been making from the beginning, you don't just take shit, you Google it. And everything I just said, please check me. Please get on your Google machine and check it out. But you only have X amount of information to accept information, X amount of time to accept information. Billionaires are no different. They are no different. They only have X amount of time in the day. They sleep, they eat, they travel, they get up. Now, their information is brought to them in a more expedited fashion. They actually have people that they pay to crush information and hand it to them. But still, they have limited bandwidth. And when I say they have limited bandwidth, they also have limited time for relationships. You meet people at work, you meet people when you're shopping, you meet people at church, you meet people in your orbit. They do the same thing. They do the same thing. They have a very limited orbit. And the amount of information and influence that these people have is insane. It's insane. That's how somebody who, like Wendy Dean, rises up the socialite ladder from being Chinese Communist Party aristocracy, which does not put you very high on the socialite ladder. She is highly educated. She is beautiful. She can talk to you in depth about any subject you would like to talk about. If you are a master of the universe, she is somebody that can talk to you. So is Elena Yakova, the person that just married Rupert Murdoch. And if you think that they don't have influence over him, and he does not have influence over what happens in this country, and if you don't think Dasha Zhukova, who refers to Vladimir Putin as Uncle Vladdy, doesn't have influence, because, and let me tell you how they keep this power insular. Let's just use Dasha Zhukova as an example. She was married to Roman Abramovich. They broke up. She ends up marrying a Greek shipping magnate. We're talking about somebody with their fingers on the pulse of world shipping, global shipping. All of the container ships you see, she married a young Greek prince, basically, and I'm going to kill his name, Staros Niarchos. His father's Philip. I know about his father. I don't know about him very much. But Dasha, yeah, she is now the center orbit of one of the most powerful shipping magnates in the world, and she calls Vladimir Putin Uncle Vladdy. When Uncle Vladdy calls, she takes the call. And again, she's bestest buds with Ivanka Trump. Folks, it's disgusting. It's just disgusting. And this is what is wrong with the right wing. This is how this misinformation blossoms and grows and gets controlled. And it never stops. We've got this guy. This story is breaking. This is John Mark Dougan. John Mark Dougan. John Mark Dougan was a sheriff's deputy in Florida. And back in 2016, he's a radical MAGA freak. He gets busted. He's doxing Democrats. They went to arrest him and he fled the country. Guess where he went? Guess where he went? Yeah. Russia. He defected to Russia. He didn't quit doing the shit that he was doing. No, he pretends to be a journalist in Donbass, and an investigative organization that looks at Russian misinformation were able to link over 100 fake news sites being run out of the same IP address that he runs his personal page and his misinformation out of. There are over 100 fake news sites that your Russian trolls, your right-wing idiot, quote, daily. So these sites mimic actual news sites. They're designed to mimic actual news sites. And this is where your right wing MAGA gets all of their information, their research. And this traitor is a huge source of it. Folks, we have a huge problem in this country with Republicans. We do. These people have no loyalty. They have no loyalty. They're more than willing to destroy our democracy. They're more than willing to hurt women. If they think it politically serves their cult leaders, they're good with it. They're good with it. And they don't question. They don't question at all. It's like the border misinformation. Man, they just drink it up. I went down to the border. I showed you live footage. There's no invasion. Never had been. And Biden, God love him, rope-a-dope and said, okay, I'm going to pass an executive order, and we're going to slash the number of people that are allowed to ask for asylum. What do the Republicans tell you? Do they say, yay, that's a good, no, that's terrible. That's terrible. I mean, he rope-a-doped them good on that one. He really did. He really did. But again, it's like herding cats because half the Democratic Party's attacking him for doing it. You know, the Republican Party, they're responsible for Title 42. Trump put Title 42 in, which was a immigration disaster. They sued us to stop us from ending Title 42. When we finally ended Title 42, illegal immigration plummeted down to nothing. We said, okay, you want to do more stuff on the border? Okay, great. So do we. They came up with a bill that was one of the best bills ever put together that would combat, where drugs actually come across. They keep drawing you these misinformation, fake ass pictures of some guy with a backpack is responsible for the fentanyl coming into this country, which is just idiotic. It's coming through on 18-wheelers. We pass a border bill. We've got a border bill that replaces dogs, which are fallible, with actual sensors that do the same thing that dogs do, but they can't be distracted. They work 100% of the time. All kinds of technology in it, and the Republicans kill it. Why? Politics. And it doesn't end there. And like I said, I want you to check me. I want you to check me. We've got this guy, Wyatt Reed. He's the editor of Gray Zone News. And this is a darling of the right. Mike Lee was just humiliated because he keeps quoting Gray Zone News. This is Wyatt Reed, their editor. Well, Wyatt Reed, Iranian state TV, just got hacked, and turns out they're sending a shit ton of money to Wyatt Reed. So people said, hey, you know what? In the corporate media, like the Washington Post, said, hey, you know what? We've been listening to Mike Lee, who keeps quoting this guy. Maybe we ought to look at who this guy is and what his relationships are. Oh, no, he works with Sputnik. He works with RT. RT just sent him on a trip to Moscow. Yeah. Welcome to our reality corporate media. We've been telling you this shit for a year. Folks, they've got the receipts. They've got the money. Thank you so much for the support, Lori. I appreciate you. Thank everybody. I know a lot of comments have flipped through. Thank you for the supers. I really appreciate it. Allows me to do this full time. I'm very grateful. Mr. Knudsen in the house. 2025, after the mysterious disappearance of her Royal Empress Melania Trump, Wendy begins dating Supreme Leader sent by a guy for the benefit of Donald Trump. They live together in the Trump house. Oh my God, that's funny, man. That is funny. I appreciate you. That's a good joke there. That's a good one. You know, folks, I wanted you to see the information they get. It's useless. It makes them useless. They want it. The worse, the better. The bigger the lie, the better. They're holding hearings where they keep stepping on rakes. They keep getting shown. Dude, your FBI witness, yeah, he got fired from the FBI because he's shady as fuck. He's been fired by the FBI. That's your witness. Oh, wait, this witness over here literally just confessed to us that he's getting his talking points from the Russian government. And they keep going. They keep going. Lucky Star 888. Do you think there is more to Rupert Murdoch firing Tucker Carlson? Was it also they could use Tucker as a Russian ambassador? No, man, I really believe that was just cutting ties to staunch the bleeding, because they were getting, all of this stuff isn't impervious to reality. It's not. And the Dominion thing was costing them billions. They really screwed up. They're used to leaving this stuff out there as questions and letting the worst among us just put those dots together. You see the trolls in here. They say the nastiest, stupidest shit. They go out there and they want it, man. They want it. So all they have to do is leave it as a question, and they can't get sued. In the Dominion case, they all crossed the line. They all crossed the line. They said, this happened. This company did this. And Dominion sued the dog shit out of them. And Tucker Carlson was the worst. And he had more baggage that was going to blow up all over them. So they cut ties. That's what that was all about. It was just self-defense right there. So here's the thing, folks. This is what I want to sum it up with. The right wing's useless. They're useless. They are. They are broken. They are broken, bigoted, horrible people that want to believe absolutely horrible things, and they seek out people that are willing to tell them horrible things. And they say, that's reality. Nothing you say, nothing I say, it does not matter. You can hold up all of the documentation, all of the documentation, and just hand it to them and say, read it. And they're fake news. It's all fake news. And they won't hear you. Right wing knows this. That's why they're very comfortable being fucking awful. That's why they're very comfortable printing for you to read the 2025 project, Project 2025. Go read it. They don't care, because they know their people don't care. You've got people sitting at rallies where they put a mic in front of their face. They put a mic in front of their face and they say, these are the same people that we're all, I'm a patriot. You Democrats are commies, and just all of that nonsense. Will now tell you with a straight face, Well, yeah, we need to tear our government down. We do. It needs to be torn down and rebuilt. It needs to, we need to, we need some fascism. We had a sheriff, on went viral. You've probably seen the video of him talking about how, well, I think it's time we put a felon in the White House. A fucking sheriff. Eleanor Aquitaine, listen up. This is going to be the most important information you've ever heard. Yeah, it is. It is the most important information you've ever heard because it's the God's honest truth. The right is broken. They are. They're broken people. They have no source for information. They are all in their cult. They have been told by these same people that are delivering misinformation that they're superior, that they're the reason our country exists at all, that if they do not succeed in ending our democracy and handing power to these people, that their life as they know it will end. They've been told all of those things and told they have to destroy our democracy for Donald Trump. There's nothing you can do. Donald Trump just went on trial. They didn't bring outside information to convict this guy. They didn't. They didn't. This was all Donald Trump's information. All they did was just show it to a jury. These are his checks. These are his emails and texts. This is the guy that worked for him. He said he did it. Convicted. Everyone on the right. Democrats made it up and they're trying to take down their political enemy. This is the worst thing that's happened since 9/11. Y'all are crucifying Donald Trump. You know how concerned Donald Trump was about this? He slept and farted through his trial. That's how concerned he was about this. That's how crucified he was. He literally slept and farted through his trial. And then when he's convicted and they can see, man, we're losing voters. We don't even have the coalition that we had in the last election. We have people that are already never Trumpers. When they can see they're losing even more because now he's a convict. He's a convicted felon. They spin it as this helped us. Yeah, best thing ever. We raised $300 bojillion. Who told you that? Donald Trump did. Yeah, Donald Trump told me he made $300 bojillion, and I believe him. Right. Okay. What do we say when they say that? Okay, well, if it really helped him, let's move the rest of these trials through because apparently they're helping him so much and helping him raise so much money. Surely he wants the rest of these trials to go through if they're really helping him that much. Whoa, no, we can't have that because they know it's bullshit. They know it is. But you cannot pierce the misinformation because they want it. They want it. That's a good point. We need to start taking harsher paths than we're used to taking. Grand Old Reaper says we need a president to ignore the corrupt SCOTUS just as Abraham Lincoln did in 1861. Thank you for the support. Great point. We do. We need to start taking more drastic and harsher steps. They know that they've got a corrupt DOJ. They know that Robert Hur was in the tank for them, and he did things that no other prosecutor would do. He wrote a report for them politically. I mean, think about it. Their report fit their political narrative, a narrative that existed before he wrote the report. Come on, people. Come on. They know that we need to have a purge of the FBI and the DOJ, that there are huge, we've actually convicted FBI agents that were working with Rudy Giuliani and Russian oligarchs, convicted them. They see what needs to be done. So what do? The old Joseph Goebbels thing. Oh no, we need to purge it, and we needed to make it more of this stuff to serve us. Wait, man, your dudes are getting convicted for crimes. They're working with foreign governments, and you need more of that? Muddy the waters so that you can have some jackass on social media who wants to seem smart, that doesn't pay attention to a damn thing, say, well, Democrats and Republicans are just the same. Same thing. Same owner. Two different brothers with the same daddy. No, people. No, we're not the same. We're not the same. We aren't. I want you to see how tightly tied this misinformation is. That's why I did this show this way today. I want you to see that there's nothing you can do with these right-wingers. Nothing. Don't debate them. Don't listen to them. Don't engage them. Cut them off. Cut them off. Show up. Keep being you, man. Keep being you. Fact check me to death. Please. Makes me better. Makes us better. Keep being you, because you will save this country. But you got to do the work, man. You've got to do the work. You've got to support Democratic candidates, not just with your money, not just with your time. You have to get involved. This can't be a spectator sport anymore. It can't. Because those freaks on the right are going to show up. Thank you for the support, Lori. Thank you. You're welcome. Those freaks on the right are going to show up. Olivia Giuliani just drew attention. I'm going to try to get her on the show to talk about this. There's a couple of professors that have been put in, that are part of the UT system. And with this whole push to the right and the governor infesting the UT system, they have pushed for the ability. They want to be able to monitor the sex lives of female students. And if they don't approve of their moral behavior, they want to be able to flunk them out of school. I wish to God I was making that up. They said this out loud. Because in this environment, they feel comfortable. Texas, right here, University of Texas. Go to Olivia Giuliani. She's talking about it. I'm going to try to get her on the show to talk about it with you. Yeah, that's really happening. Yes, Mobius, 981, Epic Times. Many of you don't know what Epic Times is. It's huge on the right. Huge. It's where they get the research. Yeah, they just got busted. They're a money laundering operation. And when I mean busted, I mean like they're being indicted. So yeah, folks, this is what we're up against. This is the reality of do we want a real country? Yeah, no kidding. North Korea State University. Victor, my guy. Epic Times brainwashed my brother-in-law. Yeah, it's huge on the right. It's a freaking money laundering organization. They're going to go to jail. This is what you're up against. So no, there's no common ground to be had with that. The old days of Democrats and Republicans behind the scenes, they would have their politics, but behind the scenes, they would shake hands and do deals that nobody was really happy with, but it was compromise and democracy, and the best we could do for the country is over. It's done. The question is, where do we go from here? We're a two-party system, folks. We really are. We're a two-party system. It's the way our government's designed. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. Thank you for the wonderful comment. Thank you for the support. I'm telling you, folks, you're it. There is no Democratic sugar daddy funding me to do this. I do this on my time, and you support me to do it so that I can do it full time. I appreciate you. When I say I appreciate you, I mean you're it. You're keeping the lights on. Mrs. Texas Paul put her foot down. Said, "Okay, you want to start this? You want to do this? You got to make it pay. You have got to make it pay. You have got to make it fund itself, or we're not doing it." Thank you. You're the ones making it happen. Folks, this is what you're up against. This is what you're up against. You are talking to people that have no contact with reality, that are being completely and wholly, they're not even being manipulated. They're being fed. Manipulated would mean that these sites are changing them. They're not changing them. They're bigots to start with, and they're just telling them their right to be bigots, and they're great people for being bigots. They're not manipulating them, they're feeding them. So there is no common ground. There is no middle ground to be had with these people. What do we have to do? End them. End them. If you're a blue dot in a red state, I assure you, you are unaware how many other blue dots there are out there, because we're not loud like they are. You know, think about how loud they were last presidential election. Boat parades and everybody with their flags flying on their pickup trucks and this, that, and the other. And then when they got their ass beat, they're like, "Oh, we didn't see you with your boat parade. You didn't have boat parade. No way, that was rigged." No, man, we just don't do that shit. This isn't a game for us. This is really our government, people. Yeah, Jan Morgan, inconceivable that so many people still support a convicted criminal. You can't say it's inconceivable after watching my show. It's who they are. It's what they are. You had a damn sheriff make a video out of his own mouth with his own words say it's time to put a felon in the White House. A sheriff. I don't mean a sheriff's deputy. I mean the guy with the 4 fucking stars on his neck. That's what we're dealing with. And the bar never stops moving. It used to be if some guy was rumored to have an affair, it would end his political career. Now they're like cool with felons. Destroy the democracy? Our democracy? No, no problem. They'll tell you something stupid like, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. Those things aren't mutually exclusive, dumbass. They will justify anything. I put a post on social media decrying the amount of pedophilia, rape, and incest, and not incest, pardon me, but rape and abuse of children going on in churches. And you would not believe they actually have a formulated defense for that. But what about the schools? Don't pay attention to the churches. Look at the schools. Yeah, we can do both. We can do both. They literally were defending pedophiles in the churches and the plague that of pastors that are busted every day. If you don't follow Antifa operative, do it. Bex, she's amazing. Every single day she will point out a pastor or a cop that has been busted. She reports the news stories from around the country of these people actually being busted. And they have formulated on the right a defense for this. How do you meet that? No. There's only one way forward, folks. And I don't want a Democratic Party dictatorship. I do not. I want the Republican Party to go away so that this political sport and entertainment for them isn't fun anymore. Make them losers to the point that they don't enjoy it anymore. And make those people go away so that it's serious people left in politics. People, another party can come up. Antifa operative is her name. She's not Antifa. It's just her screen name. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. I will go and I'll show you the entire process here. Let me, screen share it all so you can see it, what I'm talking about. Let me pause where I was going to explain this because there's questions. Somebody got distracted by the word Antifa. Bex. She goes by the handle Antifa operative. Every day, she will point out Louisiana Sheriff Department Lieutenant Gabe LeBlanc has been arrested for producing child sexual abuse material of young children. This is the one I commented on yesterday. Texas Christian school teacher, coach, and Christian camp counselor Matthew Harmon has been arrested for the rape of a student. And if you go to where I commented on that, you will see they have a canned response on the right. Here you go. This is where I commented on it on X. They have a canned response from the right. Most people are like, okay, that's disgusting, and this is a real problem. We need to look at it. But if you look on the right here, I know. Now do the Texas public schools a distraction. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about our people. Let's talk about something else. We want to attack the schools. Well, folks on the left, I don't know about you, and it goes on and on. There are more and more posts from right wingers when the word got around to the troll groups. They started posting more and more about, oh no, you can't look at the churches, look at the schools. Remember I told you about Frank Luntz, and he's a political strategist. He gets hundreds of people together and runs different stories by them to see what works best. He's not the only one. I'm not saying this is Frank Luntz is responsible for the let's distract from the pedophiles in the churches and the police departments by talking about schools. I'm not saying this came out of his camp, but it came out of somebody's camp because it's verbatim and canned. And they say it because they have no clue what we are. They're like, well, let's look at the schools. And we're like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Let's look at it all. All these people need to be going to jail. Yeah, exactly. Both is good. Let's do both. But in their circle, in this broken right-wing circle, it's that distraction. Oh, okay, we're good with the churches. We're good. Exactly. So anyways, folks, let me sum this up. Let me finish because we got distracted with me telling you who Bex was. Great follow. She works daily to get you good information. Folks, there is no them. There is no them to come together with. There isn't. They're not in reality. You can't compromise with their not insanity and their hate. Every issue, the LGBTQ plus community, like I always say, we all do better when we all do better. They're just people. Let's let them have the best life they can possibly have. If they want to marry the person they love, by all means, do it. There's no compromise with someone on the right that thinks that those people should die. There's no middle ground there. It's not. So what are we left with what we can do? Folks, there are more people that don't vote than do. But they agree with you. If you go issue to issue and you don't put a political label on any of it, and you just say, where do you stand on this issue? Where do you stand on the border? Well, we should enforce our borders, and we should use modern technology and beef up our security. But also the people that are coming across the border that we want to hire to put our roofs on and help us out in the agricultural community, we need to treat them with respect, and we need to give them documentation so that they cannot be taken advantage of and abused. That's where the country is. That's the Democratic Party, folks. That's where the Democratic Party is. The Republican Party is on abuse them, barbed wire, shoot them. I mean, they say that shit. Shoot them. That's not where the country is. So you need to get those people to understand. I've got it on my nightstand. I don't have her book. Rachel Bittercoffer's book. She points out a great point. I want her to come on the show and talk about this point specifically. She talks about the number one things Googled during the election. And none of them have to do with politics. None of them. The overwhelming majority of the country wasn't trying to find out what was going on with their leadership. They weren't trying to find out with what was happening with their country. They were talking about a television show or a singer or a basketball player, or we can't let that happen this election. There's too much on the line. The right-wingers are telling you directly out of their mouths, they want to gut our institutions so that they have fealty to Trump. So the next time Trump says, shoot them, there won't be a Mark Milley there to say, no, we're not going to do that. So let's get to work. I will be here every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. You need to be making phone calls. You need to be donating and supporting Democratic candidates, and you need to be a pain in the ass to everyone you know that is not a Politico. Scare them. Scare them. Show them this stuff. Show them the 2025 project. Show them that you have professors. You can go to Olivia Giuliana's social media. She just talked about it. You can show them the link to the story where you have two professors in the University of Texas who are not fired. They're not taken out of their job. They're not anything. They want to monitor the sex lives of their female students. And if they don't approve, they want to flunk them out of school. Really happening. Check me. Love you, folks. That's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the support. You allow me to do this full time. Without you folks, this would just be a hobby. I wouldn't be able to pour money into the technology, the microphones. Don't have the snazzy background yet, but I'm working on that, improving the show every chance we get. I cannot tell you how grateful I am. Thank you. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the thumbs up button so that this gets pushed out in the algorithm. If you like the mugs, you can go to the Texas Paul store and you can find all the mugs there. I've got a surprise for you there. We're about to start offering, it's summertime. You want cold drinks. We're going to offer insulated tumblers with the same graphics on them. They're white tumblers, and we're going to put the same graphics on them. That'll be coming. So enjoy. Thank you very much for being here. Do your damn job. Get out there. Get some people to the polls. Love you, folks. This is old Texas Paul out. Enjoy some Texas cities. And oh, by the way, people ask me. I'm gonna tell you which cities which here. I get tons of emails on this. I just answered one the other. Lunch. Go have some barbecue. San Antonio, beautiful city. Come visit it. Houston, amazing city. That's awesome. That is awesome from the view from across the river, Colorado River. Dallas, you should see Dallas lit up for Pride Month. It's amazing. And that's Corpus Christi at night. Thanks for being here, folks. Come to Texas. Trust me, you'll be shocked how wonderful it is.